Dams play an extremely important role in flood control, power generation, water supply, and irrigation. Living in the shadow of a large dam means you have placed your trust in the engineers who designed it, because if there were any errors in their calculations, the result could be deadly catastrophe. When a dam breaches, the consequent water surge can carry away all before it, destroying property and killing humans and livestock. As this list shows, when mistakes are made during dam constructions, the results can be truly horrific. Ban Chao Dam. Construction of Ban Chao Dam began in April 1951 on the Ru River with the help of Soviet consultants as a part of a project to control flooding and provide electrical power generation. After 1954 Huai River Great Flood, the upstream reservoirs including Ban Chao were extended, constructed and consolidated. Ban Chao Dam was increased in height by 3 meters. The dam crest level was 116.34 meters above the sea level, and the crest level of the wave protection wall was 117.64 meters above the sea level. Reservoir created by the dam had a capacity of 600 billion liters. Cracks in the dam and sluice gates, which are used to control water levels and flow rates, appeared after completion due to construction and engineering errors. They were repaired with the advice from Soviet engineers, and the new design, dubbed the Iron Dam, was considered unbreakable. In August 1975, the Ban Chao Dam collapsed, creating the third largest flood in history, which affected a total population of 10.15 million and inundated around 30 cities and counties of 12,000 square kilometers, with an estimated death toll ranging from tens of thousands to 240,000. Machu Dam 2. The first dam on Machu River, named Machu 1, was built in 1959, having a catchment area of 730 square kilometers. The Machu Dam 2 was constructed downstream of Machu 1 in 1972 and has a catchment area of 1929 square kilometers. Considering the long history of drought in Saurashtra region, the primary consideration at the time of design was water supply, not flood control. The failure of Machu Dam 2 was caused by excessive rain and massive flooding, leading to the disintegration of the eastern walls of the 4 km long Machu Dam 2. The actual observed flow following the intense rainfall reached 16,307 cubic meters per second, twice what the dam was designed for, resulting in its collapse. 762 meters of the left and 365 meters of the right embankment of the dam collapsed. Within 20 minutes, the floods of 3.7 to 9.1 meter height inundated the low-lying areas of Mobi Industrial Town, located 5 kilometers below the dam. Around 3:30 p.m., the tremendous swelling of water struck Mobi Town. Water level rose to 30 feet within the next 15 minutes, and some low-lying areas of city were under 20 feet of water for the next 6 hours. Estimates of the number of people killed vary greatly, ranging from 1,800 to 25,000 people. South Fork Dam. Johnstown is 60 miles east of Pittsburgh in a valley near Allegheny, Little Conemaugh and Stony Creek rivers. It is located on a floodplain that has been subject to frequent disasters. South Fork Dam was built in 1840 on the Little Conemaugh River, 14 miles upstream from Johnstown. 900 feet by 72 feet, it was the largest earth dam made of dirt and rock rather than steel and concrete in the United States. It created the largest man-made lake of the time, Lake Conemaugh. The dam was part of an extensive canal system that became obsolete as the railroads replaced the canal as a means of transporting goods. In 1889, Johnstown was home to 30,000 people, many of whom worked in the steel industry. On May 31st, the residents were unaware of the danger that steady rain over the course of previous day had caused. A spillway of the dam became clogged with debris that could not be dislodged. An engineer at the dam saw the warning signs of an impending disaster and rode a horse to the village of South Fork to warn the residents. However, telegraph lines were down and the warning did not reach Johnstown. At 3:10 p.m., dam collapsed, causing a roar that could be heard for miles. All the water from Lake Conemaugh rushed forward at 40 miles per hour, sweeping away everything in its path, causing the Johnstown flood, killing more than 2,200 people. Weyand Dam. On October 9, 1963, at 10:39 p.m., 260 million cubic meters of rock broke from the top of Monte Toc on the border between Veneto and Friuli Venezia Giulia. It fell into the reservoir of the Vajont Dam, producing an enormous wave of at least 50 million cubic meters of water. The dam, completed in 1959 and one of the biggest in the world at the time, did not suffer any serious damage. However, flooding destroyed several villages in the valley and killed almost 2,000 people. A third of the population of Longarona, the largest village downstream of the dam, perished. Already in 1960, shortly after completion, there were small landslides. The fear of Monte Toc would collapse was widespread in the area. Moreover, builders and managers had failed to observe soil conservation requirements and filled the reservoir well in excess of safety regulations. Finance-related concerns and a blind faith in development and technical expertise had eclipsed real consideration of environmental factors in the valley and of the threat to the human life. The Ruhr Valley Dams. Before the Second World War, British Air Ministry had identified the industrial Ruhr Valley, especially its dams, as important strategic targets. The dams provided hydroelectric power, pure water for steel making, drinking water, and water for the canal transport system. Operation Chastise, commonly known as the Dam Busters Raid, was an attack on German dams carried out on the nights of 16th and 17th May 1943 by 617th Squadron RAF Bomber Command, later called the Dam Busters, using special bouncing bombs developed by Barnes-Wallis. The Morny and Edersee dams were breached, causing catastrophic flooding in the Ruhr Valley and the villages in the Eder Valley. The Sopi Dam sustained only minor damage. 2 hydraulic power stations were destroyed and several more damaged. Factories and mines were also damaged and destroyed. An estimated 1,600 civilians, about 600 Germans and 1,000 enslaved laborers, mainly Soviet, were killed by the flooding. Despite rapid repairs by the Germans, production did not return to normal until September. The RAF lost 53 aircrew killed and 3 captured, with 8 aircraft destroyed. Puentes Dam. Back in 1802, the Puentes Dam in the southern Murcia region of Spain was the country's longest dam, 940 feet from end to end. Just over 7 miles from the city of Lorca, the dam stood 165 feet tall. Geronimo Ortiz de Lara designed the structure, and starting in 1785, construction took 6 years. Perhaps it was an omen that the dam was built to replace one which had failed in 1648. This new dam got off to an inauspicious start, with its reservoirs remaining almost entirely dry due to nearly a decade of severe drought in Murcia. However, the first few months of 1802 saw this climatic trend being bucked, especially in the month of March, when 220 liters per square of rainfall were recorded. The reservoir began to fill up, and with the possibility of an overflow looking imminent, the city of Lorca was placed on alert at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon 30th April. Not long afterwards, the dam burst, releasing 40-foot high torrent of water heading straight for Lorca. The deluge destroyed more than 800 homes plus many industrial and farm buildings. Loss of life was also heavy. 608 died in the flood. St. Francis Dam. Located approximately 40 miles northwest of Los Angeles, California, St. Francis Dam was a curved concrete gravity dam constructed between 1924 and 1926 in order to provide storage reservoir for the Los Angeles aqueduct system. It was the only second concrete dam of 9 dams built by the Los Angeles Bureau of Waterworks and Supply starting in 1921. While the dam's upstream face exhibited a nearly vertical profile, the downstream side was equipped with a stair-step design that resulted in a base and a crest thickness of 175 feet and 16 feet respectively. The main structure reached a height of 205 feet and spanned 700 feet along its curvilinear crest. The design and the construction of St. Francis Dam was executed by the Los Angeles Bureau of Waterworks and Supply under the supervision of the organization's chief engineer William Mulholland. The 1928 failure of the dam, which resulted in the deaths of over 400 civilians, was attributed to a series of human errors and poor engineering judgment. An investigation into the disaster concluded that it had been caused primarily by the instability of San Francisco rock for supporting a dam and a reservoir. Mulholland was cleared of all charges regarding the dam failure. Nevertheless, the disaster ruined his reputation and ended his career. Due to the tremendous loss of life and property damage estimated to be 7 million, some consider the failure of St. Francis Dam to be the worst American civil engineering disaster of the 20th century. Malpasset Dam. Malpasset Dam was a concrete arch dam located on the Riviera in the Caen district near Fréjus in southern France, exhibiting curvature in both the plan and section directions. The double curvature arch structure spanned the Reyron River. At the time of completion in 1954, it was reported as the thinnest arch dam of its height 218 feet with a maximum thickness of 22.2 feet. The dam was equipped with one ungated notch spillway at the center of its 736-foot-long crest. Because the planned left abutment of the dam from the upstream perspective was higher than site topology, a large dihedral truss block was placed below the dam to raise it to the necessary height. Construction of the dam began in 1952 and the first filling of the reservoir began on April 20, 1954. Approximately 5 years later, when the first filling was nearly complete, Malpasset Dam failed on December 2, 1959, after the area experienced several days of heavy rain and high winds. The sudden failure of the dam resulted in the death of 421 people. The emergency rescue attempts were blocked due to inaccessibility of the town's flooded roadways and access routes. The breach was caused by a tectonic fault in the impermeable rock base which had been inadequately surveyed. Nearby road building works using explosives may also have contributed to the disaster. Brumadinho Dam. On January 25, 2019, a 86-meter dam operated by Vale, a multinational firm in mining and metal industry based in Brazil, collapsed, resulting in 270 fatalities and extensive damage to the local environment in the state of Minas Gerais. The dam was holding waste from an iron ore mine situated nearby. The failure triggered mudslides, floods, and contaminated the local rivers with mining wastes. At the time of the failure, more than 300 workers were in the vicinity of the dam, with many of them being buried under debris. The environmental impact caused by the dam's burst was immense. More than 1.2 square kilometers of forest were impacted, while about 320 kilometers of Paraopeba River, which provided water supply to Minas Gerais, were polluted. In fact, toxic elements are subsequently found in São Francisco River that supplied 5 more states of Brazil with drinking water. The Brumadinho city, located near the dam, was severely damaged, with houses, stores, and additional facilities being hit by mud flows. Since the incident, more than 100,000 people affected by the collapse are receiving monthly payments by the Vale. According to a report issued in 2019, the collapse was associated with incapacities of the dam's drainage system. The inability to remove excess water resulted in poor water pressure increase and eventually to soil liquefaction and failure. A strange fact is that report issued by TÜV in 2018 ensured the safety of the dam despite defects in the drainage system and cracks were detected. Dale Dyke Reservoir. The Dale Dyke Reservoir was located 8 miles from the northern English city of Sheffield. The 100-foot high dam was the earth embankment type, and it stretched for 500 feet, holding back a reservoir that was a mile long and a quarter-mile wide. As the structure was nearing completion, in March 1864, a heavy storm hit the area and the dam was breached thanks to a crack in its embankment. The bursting of the dam sent a wall of water more than 690 million gallons crashing towards the city of Sheffield, killing more than 200 people and destroying more than 600 houses, pubs, factories, and other buildings. The flood was one of the worst peacetime disasters in United Kingdom and, according to some, the 20th most fatal flood worldwide. Insurance claims following disaster were the highest of any incident in the Victorian era.